You're listening to the Undergun Productions podcast, Indie and Proud, taking home recording to a whole new level. All things cool, gear, beer, production tips and tricks, and a whole lot of other cool shit. Interviews with your favorite members of the Undergun team, and some surprise special guests. So sit back and enjoy the podcast.
Hello and good evening, everybody. Jeremiah here from Undergun Productions coming at you guys with a brand new episode of the Undergun Productions podcast. And yes, it has been a hell of a long time since our last episode, but that's all right. We are back and we are more creative than ever, digging into the art of living creatively. And tonight, I got a super creative guest on the show for y'all, all the way from down in Ennis, Texas, Tommy Slama. Tommy is the creative force and mastermind behind several cool indie films, such as Weed Wolf, Alabama Sasquatch, American Freak Show, and many others. So tonight on the show, we're going to go deep into the rabbit hole and have a look at what it takes to actually produce an indie film with no budget, on your own from the ground up. So without blowing too much more smoke up Tommy's ass, I'd like to welcome you all to the show. All right, Tommy, welcome to the podcast, man. Let's just share a little bit of history about yourself, where you grew up, and maybe if you can remember back to the first few times you were inspired to do something creative in your life.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Jeremiah. And I don't know, man. I've been inspired my whole life to make stuff. I've always wanted to make things, and I didn't really do it till I was 30 years old. It's weird because it's not a great origin story, but like I watched this episode of My Name is Earl. Have you ever watched that?
Yes, I was a big fan of that show.
There's one episode, and it guest stars Seth Green, and he's dying in it, but you don't know that till the very end. So spoilers, but sorry, that shit's been off for like 10 years. And his whole thing was he just wanted to make a movie. And at the end, he dies, and they all watch it, and they all laugh, and all this kind of shit. And I don't know, for whatever reason, that episode like really hit me. And I was just like, with computers and shit now, like you can do this. You can make stuff. And so I went on Amazon and ordered like Sony Vegas and watched YouTube videos and tutorials and everything. And I kind of learned how to make stuff. And then everything else kind of fell into place. So that's my origin story, which I wish was better. I wish I could have written something better, but that's what it is.
I'll just find an inspiration from, like you said, on a show there. And then the inspiration there almost comes from, like, you never know. Are you going to die tomorrow? And that shit,
yes,
that inspires you to get off your ass and do shit, right? It's like even the situation we're in right now. That's what I said to my buddy when I was talking to him a couple of days ago. Well, just think, if I was going to die in 6 months, so what do I want to do? So right now, that's why I've been trying to finish all my unfinished songs and get them out there.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, that's the thing. I think that's just kind of being, I don't want to be a pretentious asshole, but it's like being an artist. It's like, man, I could fucking die tomorrow. I want to get this done. I want this like to be the thing that people remember of me, regardless if it's shit or not. I mean, I'm proud of everything I made, and I watch it all the time. And I look at it sometimes, and I'm like, I don't even remember that dude. That dude that like had that, like was that driven to get shit made.
Yeah, that motivation kind of comes and goes in spurts, and
it does. It's been gone for like 4 years of my life, and it's like I still every day. It's like I have this idea. I can make this. I could do this. But and I hope one day I do. As far as the virus doesn't take me away or something. Like there's always time. This always feels like I want to make something. At this point, I've made like four features. It's like I want to end it. I want to like end this chapter of my life and move on to something else. So that always bugs me. But then it's like it's hard to get people to do shit for nothing. So it's like I don't even want to try if I don't have any money to make anything, you know?
Yeah, finding like-minded folks who are into the same, like, in your case, same style of comedy and willing to just do it for the love and passion. It's definitely challenging, no doubt.
Yes. It's like you get that one out of them, and then after that, they're like I made a movie. That kind of was their goal, but my uh my thing is to like make a whole series of things. You know, is to make a whole like franchise, and that's not what other people feel. They're like, hey, I made a movie, I'm happy, and then they're done. You know. It's because you kind of take whoever comes along, which is always like a kind of a happy accident sometimes. Because I feel like everything I've ever made, I feel like it all works uh, for what it's supposed to be. It's maybe it's not fucking great. It's not gonna win awards or anything like that, but I'm happy with it. And that's really all that matters when you make shit is like you're happy with it.
Yeah, if you're happy, then the rest is kind of gravy after the fact, eh?
Mm-hmm.
So was Weed Wolf the first film endeavor you took on?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was like the first thing I ever did. I was just like, I don't want to do a short. Let's just do a movie, which probably not the way. Like if I was to tell somebody like, hey man, how do you go about making stuff? It's like, yeah, make a short first. Like learn some shit before you go and make a feature. But at the time, I didn't know if I'd ever make anything else again, and that's the only reason I even acted in it was. Just like, hey man, this might be like that one thing I fucking do. I may not do anything else, so why not act in it? And it's kind of one of those things. Like I don't really like acting. I wish like I could just hire people to act and play the parts and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's one of those necessary evils, I guess. Like I know I'll show up.
It's kind of like me with singing. Like I like singing, but I'm not. I'd much rather just play guitar and have a wicked singer sing. But out of necessity to finish songs, someone's got to jump up to the plate, right, and get her done.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. And the two of us, like, I think the two of us, like, we do this for the love of it, And it's just like we just want to make stuff. And I mean, you actually get paid for shit sometimes, but like I don't. I've never made a penny off of anything I've ever done. And like sometimes you get accused like, oh man, you're the one that's gonna make all the money or this and that. It's like there's no money. Like I just do this shit because I love it.
Money and art are just opposites. That's the problem, right? And
yes, completely opposite.
And it corrupts the creativity and it corrupts the art itself in almost an evil way.
Yes. Well, you can look at any artist you like and see how they like, in the beginning they're awesome. And then they kind of get shitty. But I'm always okay with people trying different things. But like any artist you like their best shit's always in the beginning when they didn't have any fucking money and they were just making the thing they wanted to make.
Yeah, a lot of my favorite bands are a good example of that. Rage Against the Machine, good example of that, right? It's the first album, first Soundgarden album.
Mm-hmm.
Not that their other albums weren't good, but there was that magic there that happened, right? It's
right. Well, they hired them and they said, "This is what these people are," and then they tried to make them something else, like to fit into whatever genre or something, And like, not everything fits into a certain genre. I don't know what my films would ever fit into. It's like some people say horror films or comedy. It's like I don't know what the fuck they are.
Yeah, it's nice not having to pigeonhole yourself. I'm the same way with my music, right? It's dabble with every genre, right. And now that I've evolved a bit more, the genres are kind of intermingling within each track, right? And the same thing, even when people say, oh, do you mix this kind of music or do you listen to this kind of music? I'm like, it's all just music to me. I treat it all the same, right? Like if I'm going to mix a hip-hop track or a metal track, I'm still going to take those same elements and just try to bring the emotion and energy out of the track for the most part, right? But
yeah, I mean that's what I like about your music is it's very eclectic. It's all over the board. I mean, some of it's like bluesy, some of it's hard rock, some of it's whatever else, Like you just do whatever you want want to do. It's like some people, like, they just get that, like, one category in their head of, like, this is what I do or this is what I like. And it's like, I like everything. When it comes to movies and TV and all that stuff, like, you couldn't pigeonhole me to be like, hey, this guy just likes horror films, or this guy just likes superhero films, or this or that. I love all kinds of stuff. Like, I love documentaries and stuff I wouldn't expect to like because I'm a fan of so many things.
I like the way, like, even in your films too, also, like, everything overlaps. Like, you do have a little horror, a little thriller, a whole shit ton of comedy, right? A little bit of sci-fi.
Yeah, man. Like, my whole thing is, like, I just like to make people laugh. And like, a friend of mine, he told me, he said, this is from years ago, but he said that he used to show that all the time when he have people over on, like, Saturday night or whatever, or he'd show Weed Wolf. And he said all these people would be like, what is this? And then the next weekend, some other guy would say, what is this? And they're like, it's Weed Wolf, motherfucker. Like, and that was kind of like one of the biggest compliments I ever had, because it was like, like, all these people gather together and watch this. Because, like, I never make any money off this shit, but it's nice to know that people watched it and enjoyed it.
So, talking about Weed Wolf, maybe just talk a little bit how you got all those people together, because that part always impressed me.
Yeah, I had a comic book and video store at the time, which did not survive past like a year and a half. But that was pretty much the kind of the way I got people. Like, I would look them up on Craigslist and Facebook and stuff like that, and different, like, casting sites, and people would come over to my business, and a lot of people, I'll be honest, like, I would just see them and I said, I gotta write a part for this person. A guy like Phil Toll, who played Jimby in it.
Right.
Yeah, like, I saw him and I didn't have anything for him. And then I just kept thinking about, what can I do with this guy? Because he's like an interesting looking person, and he's a really good actor and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I mean, I pretty much would just have people come over and audition. And by audition, it was pretty much, will you play this part? And they're like, yeah. And that was it. I didn't even really audition anybody.
If they were game for it, you're like, you're in.
Yes, because it's hard to find people, but then I look back on it, it's like, I found a lot of amazing people to do these parts. And in hindsight, I wish, like, some of them I'd expanded on more, but you don't know that at the time. And fuck, I didn't know what I was doing. I never made anything. It's like weird to have a professional actor come in and, like, audition for you, and you, like, don't know anything about acting. Like, how can I judge you? Like, you're and in hindsight, I look at a lot of those people and I'm like, I wish that I'd given them bigger parts. And I definitely would have if I knew better, but at the time, you don't. I didn't go to film school or anything like that, so I don't know anything. And I think it's obvious when you look at my movies, but whatever.
Hindsight is definitely 20/20.
Yeah.
I know when I first watched Weed Wolf, like, through its entirety for the first time there, I was blown away, and I didn't know you were Bumper. I remember when I talked to you on the phone there years ago, I'm like, oh, that Bumper guy and that Sheriff Hardwood, holy shit, those guys are classics, right? And
right. Well, thank you for that, man. And I love Axeman. I watch that all the time, to be honest. Like, I'll put that on, like, at least once a week, and I watch it. There's that fucking scene with you and your buddy in the trailer,
right?
And you say the Sheriff Dickweed line and stuff like that. That fucking line, that whole scene makes me laugh so hard. You talk about each other's mothers and everything. I fucking love that so much.
Thanks. Well, we're definitely influenced by you, even Sheriff Dickweed, right? It was
yeah. Dequeed. It's Dequeed.
I'm like, I didn't steal that from Weed Wolf, did I? I'm like, no, his name was Sheriff Hardwood.
Right, yeah. Oh, I never thought that, but I was just like, that's so goddamn funny. Me and John, who played Hank and stuff, we sat and watched it, and I remember we laughed so fucking hard at it, like the first time we watched it together.
Oh, thanks. Right on. Because we were just the same as you, just kind of on the fly, making it as we go, made it up as we go. We had a very, very rough, loose kind of script in our mind, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I know, man. I like with me, like I write most of it, but then there's sometimes you see something like in people or whatever, and it's like, hey, let's do this and see what you can get out of people. And sometimes you get gold, sometimes you get shit, but like a lot of times you get really good stuff, really funny things. So it's Weed Wolf is really like that. It's like kind of half written by one person, half written by me, and then there's where you're like kind of 1/3 and 1/3, and then 1/3 is like just making shit up because I think this would be funny. The other movies are a little bit different, but still have that. It's like, hey man, what do you think we should say? What do you think we should do? It's all about being funny. It's not like my movies like have like a coherency throughout them or anything like that. It's just about like just laughing. It's obvious. Like once you start one of my movies, you're either gonna like it or you're not. Like you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it.
No, I definitely like the way, like watching you progress from Weed Wolf into Alabama Sasquatch into American Freak Show. Like you can see by the time you got to that third movie, things had like definitely elevated in everything, like filming wise, production wise.
Yeah.
You had a whole bunch new actors and actresses in there.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah. Oh man, and that was my worst shoot of all of them. I had so many problems like recording that. There was so many things that happened. I got a divorce. My dad died. I lost that film for like a year because my hard drive, my computer crashed, and I eventually got it. Like I had to pay $1,000 to get it back. Where I had to send it to a place and all that kind of shit. There was so much shit that happened, and not even get into the actors and all that kind of stuff. But I learned so much doing it. But I was really like, I want this thing to be what I wanted to be, where the other two had not been. Like they had been, I don't know. I was at the mercy of actors and this and that and stuff like that. And I found a way to make American Freak Show work.
Yeah, no, it was definitely, I'd say my favorite for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of mine too, but like I don't know, as I watch them, actually my real favorite is, I don't think you've seen it, but the Christmas special.
No, I've only seen a couple of little snippets there.
I'm gonna send you a copy of that. Because that's my favorite thing I've ever done. It's different than the other things, and it's kind of my end game to like what we had done. It's not really what I would have done if I had money, but I'll probably never get a lot of those people back to make anything again. And everybody from Weed Wolf kind of came back and did it, which was cool.
Yes, it did connect from one story to the other, which I really liked also. There.
I tried to have an ending to it, even though it is like kind of basically like a TV special from the 70s or 80s, with a bunch of sketches and fake commercials and everything. And you're in it and stuff like that. You recorded some stuff, and I used some old stuff from you and all that. So, I'll get you a copy of that because I think you'll really like it.
Oh, right on. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man.
If you did have a budget for, say, an unlimited budget for your next movie, who would you bring in?
What do you mean, like an actor?
Yeah, like your favorite actors, people from the last projects, if you wanted to bring them in.
I'd bring in whoever wanted to do it. Like that would probably be my first thing. Is like, hey man, do you want to do this? Because I would really love to do like a bumper, like a Logan-esque type of finale movie, in black and white, which a lot of people would fucking hate, but fuck them. Like that's really like my idea right now. What I'd really like to do. My bigger dream is to do an animated series, which I've talked to you about a few times. It's like, I don't know how to go about that. Nobody's going to give me money to do this shit.
Yeah, I know the animation thing definitely intrigues me.
I would love it to look like 1980s Saturday morning cartoons, like G.I. Joe, or He-Man or shit like that, That's what I want it to look like. And it's almost like, that feels like that's possible.
With today's technology, it's got to be.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I mean, do I have to learn all that shit to do it? like that's the thing. Is like, oh fuck, I don't want to learn anything else. I'm too old to learn anything else. But I want to bring it to life. I mean, I have like the whole first season written. First of all, it was a couple of scripts, and then I kind of started to break them down to episodes and all that. And it's like, this is totally what I've always wanted to do. I don't know if I'll get a chance to do it, but it'd be cool, and people would like it, and it'd be one of those things you could binge on 420,
You're listening to the Undergunned Productions podcast.
What the fuck?
Your cousin is fucking hot.
You gotta be kidding me. That fat fuck?
I'm a cushion for the pushing.
Hey ladies, my name is Bumper. Master tracker, martial arts expert at your service. Here's my card.
You can sit next to me, bump ass.
Hey, is anybody gonna help me with my luggage?
Get your own damn luggage.
If I catch you, I'm gonna ticket you, and then I'm gonna throw you in jail.
Welcome back to the Undergunned Productions podcast.
Is he drinking a beer right now?
Yes, I am. You can edit some of these moments out, right?
Yeah.
Have I been horrible?
No.
Okay.
I think I was a little underprepared, really, but
Well, I'm way underprepared.
that's what I find. Like from the dozen I've done or whatever, you just kind of got to let the conversation go where it goes, and then you get a better result than having it too scripted. Like even some of my favorite podcasts, the guy asks the same questions every guest, and I'm like,
yeah,
just let the guests kind of lead the way, right?
I know. I'm trying to do that. I'm just trying for this to be natural.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm doing one Sunday or Sunday and Wednesday. Well, we're doing like a meeting Sunday, and then Wednesday we're doing one, and it's like he really he really writes. He kind of writes it out, and I'm kind of like, that's not really like my favorite kind of podcast. Like I love Joe Rogan, I love Kevin Smith, and those things are just like conversations, And so I'm just trying to do that. I'm not really like. I don't know, man. I mean, some of it's ignorant, maybe, that I say, but just trying to do that.
Yeah, no, it's good to have like a few cue points to hit on or whatever, right? And then you kind of let that evolve from there. It's
that's the way I want to do mine. Like what we're doing right now. This is the way I'd want to do mine. It's just talk,
No, you should definitely get your fucking podcast going. You could interview all the actors and actresses you had on there. That's a good pool to tap into.
Yeah, I actually like that podcast when we do was a girl I worked with who was really good in Weed Wolf, and I wanted to talk to her, and I thought of like, oh, we could just talk about how horrible that first night she came and shot with us, which was the actual first time we ever shot anything on Weed Wolf. And I said, that could be really funny because that was a horror show. That was so bad. I remember standing there and I said, what the fuck did I do? What did I invest my money in? This is horrible. I mean, and it's something I'm totally proud of now, but at the time I was like, why the fuck did I do this? Why did I think I could do this?
Is that referring to the scene where all the kids are partying?
Well, that's one of them, but that's not the first. The first scene we ever filmed was the hippie drum circle scene.
Oh, okay.
And the other one that was horrible was the party scene where the band didn't show up for like 3 hours. And it wasn't even their fault. It was the director who didn't tell them what we were doing. He just like, hey, come out there. We're going to film you. That's what he said to them. They didn't show up for like 3 hours. And it was like 10 o'clock before we began to shoot. And I was so like upset that night. Because I was just like, like, my whole thing was like, it ain't, my thing when I was making Weed Wolf and all the others, like, I just want to make a movie. It's nice to hang out with people, but I want to make a movie. That's my intention here, is for us to all hang out and do this. And, I don't know, man.
Everybody was probably half drunk by the time the band got there.
Everybody was fucked up by the time the band got there. And then they got out there and it took them another hour to get set up.
Well, at least that scene actually did seem, thinking back on it now, it did seem like really natural, though. It wasn't like people were acting, because they were just kind of in the moment doing what they would be doing if you're filming or not. So that's
true. Happy accidents again.
Yeah.
Like you get that. Like I think when you make like no budget shit like that, like that's like the charm of it, is all those little happy accidents. Because like the things you write, sometimes they just shit doesn't work out that way. Like, there were really good actors we had, and there were really bad actors, and I feel like some offset the others.
Yeah, that's one thing when it comes to some indie movies. It doesn't take, if you got a few and then there's a couple that they get, the tension kind of gets drawn to them, because you're like, how come that doesn't seem natural? And then
yeah. Well, I mean, that was like, I think that was one of our like things, is that we were like, yeah, this ain't working, so let's make this something else. Like if you fix it in editing, or you fix it while you're on set or whatever.
So what we're talking about the movie, how are you able to wrangle in all these hot chicks on these different movies?
Well, that was fucking difficult. Because there's the thing about hot chicks, is like they're difficult to work with. First of all, they show up when they fucking want to show up. And I had so many like, just like, yeah, I'll do that, and then not want to do it. But they didn't tell me they didn't want to do it till like the day of or the day before we were going to film. So that was, I don't know. I mean, I pretty much got them off Craigslist and a casting site.
Oh, so just like posting actors needed, and people were coming to reply to that, eh?
Yeah. And I mean, I'd just be like, hey, this is the part. I send them a piece of the script. Then they're like, yeah. And then it's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, okay.
Rewrite the script again for their part.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's like, people think it's fun. It's not really fun doing some of that shit.
Yeah, you're looking past the work part of it all. That's where things kind of get, you're like, oh, the fuck, you got to do it again, or it's just not.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is just getting to show up.
No, you definitely pulled it off, though. Like, you got, like, how many characters in all those movies? There's probably over 100 different people, right? So
yeah, I think like in Weed Wolf, altogether, not even, like, it was like actors and people who, like, contributed to like, little bits and stuff like that. I think I had, like, 80 people involved the entire production.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and I think Alabama Sasquatch, I had, like, 60. And then American Freak Show was a lot less. I think it's more like 30 or something like that. But I was thinking of that the other day, and I was just like, that's amazing. It's like, I can't even get one person to come and do shit now. And I used to be able to get almost 100 people to come and do stuff at one time. But also, I'm kind of guilty of like, man, so much goddamn work, I don't want to do it.
Well, like you're even saying earlier there, maybe just like if you were to tell someone just getting into this, definitely start with a short, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I used to think, well, what's the point of a short? And then, like, that's back in like 2010. And I'm like, fucking YouTube, like, you can blow up putting a short out on YouTube now,
Yeah.
But that's definitely the way you should do it. I mean, it was just like, to me, I didn't know anything. I still kind of don't, but it was like, I didn't know in the beginning what to do. And I was just like, let's just do a feature film, because I thought that'd be the only thing I ever did.
But now once you get a taste there, it's hard to put the camera down.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I mean, I like I said, I'd like to do one more thing, at least. But I don't know. It's like, oh, all that fucking work and no money. Somebody like, hey, here's 5,000, go make some. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll do that. I'm totally okay doing that. But I don't know. It's a lot of work.
Well, it'd be kind of cool to bring back, like, if you could get a hold of some of the past cast or whatever, right? Them plus
Yes.
the Weed Wolf, the Alabama Sasquatch, and
Oh yeah. I mean, I definitely have that story in my head. I just don't know how to make it happen. And then when I think about doing it, it's like, God, that's so much fucking work. It's like, and it's weird, like people just kind of fade out of wanting to do shit anymore. So it's like that original group of people I had, they've either spread out or just, and moved somewhere, or they just don't want to do it anymore. Yeah, I know. It's like I could be kind of unforgiving about it, kind of a dickhead. But it's like, man, I just want to make shit. I want to make stuff. Like, it's so hard. Like, I wish I just could fucking paint pictures and that would make me happy. Because that's just me. Because then I don't have to depend on anybody else.
Yeah, you're always aiming for the big full production. Just like myself there a couple weeks ago. Okay, I'm not going to do any big full productions for the next few weeks because once you go down the rabbit hole, you can't turn around. You have to see it through, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Sure enough, fucking even right now today, I spent all day filming for this music video that I'm putting together, and then I'm like, fuck, I got to take it even a bit further.
Yeah, right.
Now I'm like, holy fuck, this is going to take weeks to edit.
I know. It's like I get an idea and I just want to fucking do it, and then it's always like, I don't know, man. It'll be like 2 weeks and whatever. It's always like, then I lose my fucking interest in the shit. It's like, because I could probably make something awesome every day. I mean, it may be kind of shitty, but like I could have a YouTube channel and make content if motherfuckers just cooperate with me. And so it's like fucking starting over seems exhausting. And maybe if I was 20 years old or 25, I'd be okay with that. But like starting over, it's like, oh man, fuck that. Wouldn't it be great just to be 20 again?
Yeah.
Because like all these people have all these fucking, like all the shit they have to do for life. That's the thing is I'm not trying to be down on anybody, but it's like, goddamn life is just like, I got to work. Fuck, I don't want to fuck around on this goddamn movie on my weekend.
And then family, wife, kids.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's never too late to put your mind to anything you want to do. That's what I always tell everybody. It's
yeah. I always feel like it'll come back one day. Because it was so, like, when I was making shit, like, that was it for me. It was like this great part of my life. I like that person that I was then when I was making stuff. And I think that's what like so disappointing is like, why do I not feel like that anymore? I don't know.
Yeah, when you're not getting that creative outlet, it definitely kind of leaves a void. And sometimes you don't even realize it. You're like, fuck, why am I so miserable or whatever, right? And it's because you haven't
made anything.
Yeah, no matter what your hobby is, I think that goes for anybody. Some people are like into mountain biking or climbing. If they haven't got out on their bike for a couple weeks or whatever, and you don't even realize it. You're just thinking, fuck, why am I just kind of sluggish? That's why some days I'll just force myself to get off the couch and come out to the studio and start doing something. And then usually an hour later, I'm like, fuck yeah, I got it. I'm back, right? Kind of thing.
Yeah, man. I've totally been doing that lately. Because I was like, I'm not fucking around anymore. Like this quarantine thing, it sucks. But like that's an opportunity to make stuff. Like it's an opportunity. Like you don't have any fucking thing else to do. Just make something, It's like just get off your ass and do it. And so I've been forcing myself to do it, to write things and to edit things and all that kind of stuff. It's you can look at it as a horrible thing, which it is because people are getting sick and dying and that kind of stuff. But like you can also look at it as an opportunity to be better. Yeah, and it's like I got to look at things like that. Not like everything's horrible. It's like, yeah, I mean, you're not sick. You can go and make some stuff,
Yeah, plus it helps take your mind off of things too. You can kind of get lost in with whatever you're doing, right? And you're not even thinking about the outside world there for a while. And then
Definitely. That's why I'm like working on that audio play, which I'll send you what I have so far. I think it's funny. I'm just trying to figure out how do you, it was supposed to be an animation. So it's like, how do you make sure people know exactly what's going on throughout the whole thing, which is like a cool challenge,
Yeah.
The thing, it's like, how do I make that funny? Like I have to have like a bunch of exposition, but it's like, how do I make that funny? Like, make that kind of self-aware. Like that's a lot of exposition.
And that's what you've been trying to do yourself, is narrate the visuals.
I have it all put together, so I'm trying to edit out those moments where I narrated it throughout, and try to find a different way from the narration. I don't want to narrate it throughout. Like I've been listening to a lot of audio plays, like The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and a lot of Doctor Who stuff, and it's like there's this. It's so, I mean, these people have been doing this for a long time, but it's so well written that you follow that storyline without like some narrator. And that's kind of the big thing, is take out the narrator. I think Mr. Lobo, who's like a horror host, he's got a great voice. I want to put like little bits with him in it, but I'm trying to write good bits for him, good little sections where he can talk, and they're not really like, hey, then this happens and that happens. That's not what I want to do with it. So I'm trying to figure that out. I don't know.
Yeah, set up each scene.
Yeah.
I think what will happen when people are listening, though, they'll get familiar with the characters' voices, and so they'll know, but you have to somehow introduce every character so people know who they are.
Yes.
And what's going on. Yeah, that'd be a challenge.
I think it's also the sound effects aren't there. So I think you add the sound effects I think if the sound effects are added to it, I think that you get a bigger idea of what, it's supposed to be. And maybe it's not that complicated. I don't know. But I've listened to it like the last 3 or 4 nights, and it's like, and taking notes on like what you need to fix, and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's kind of fun. Like, I mean, I have all these people that did all these voices, and I'm missing like just little lines here and there, but I'm like, that's where you get creative. It's like, I can work around that. I can figure out, how to edit that together and all that. It's kind of fun.
No, I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out.
Yeah, I'll send you what I have, even though it's kind of shit.
Yeah, once I hear it there, and then that'll help inspire a track for you too. I think once I have like a picture in my head of kind of.
Yeah. The only thing I hate about it is like my narration throughout it. I hate my fucking voice. Like, it's just like I have to do it so that I know what the fuck is going on throughout the show. It's just my, like, where I'm like, oh, and this happens and that happens and all that. It's kind of boring, but it's not done, so that's okay. That's what it is. It's a fucking rough cut. So sue me,
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, man.
I know.
All right, Tommy. I appreciate you fucking spending some time here on the Undergun Productions podcast today.
Well, thank you for exploring my rabbit hole. I've been wanting to say that. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for everything you've ever done for me. You're a good guy, and I wish you success in life and happiness, and please don't get the corona.
No, I'm going to fight that shit, man. Tooth and nail.
All right, man.
You're listening to the Undergun Productions podcast.
What the fuck?